Okay, so we'll just start seated, any comfortable position for you. If you don't mind muting yourself throughout the class, that would be great. But do know if you need to come on at any time, you certainly can. If you have a question, you can't hear me, something doesn't feel right. Also, I have the chat open in case you would rather just send a message in the chat, and then I can get back to you that way. All right, so welcome. Um, As you all know, my name is Tina. I am a yoga teacher, and I also have completed my certification in end of life care, so like an end of life doula. So, as I mentioned, I'll be recording this. If you need to come on at any time, I will take that part out. You won't be in the recording, I'm just recording myself. Please keep everything that is shared here during class confidential. And you can leave your cameras on or turn them off. It's totally up to you, whatever you feel comfortable doing. Just to double check that you need a couple of items. So maybe a blanket. I have a couple blocks, but if you have something else like books or anything that can kind of help you, that would be great. If you don't have anything hard, even two pillows, two extra pillows will work as well. Okay, and then maybe you have another pillow with you. I have a bolster, but it's not completely necessary. So at least a blanket and a couple of pillows or some blocks or something like that. You'll also notice that in the email that I sent out, I mentioned pen and paper, so there's a couple of opportunities here for you to write down some things if you wish to. I'll give you a minute here and there. If something resonates with you, there'll also be a couple of times that I can say, feel free to write this down or whatever. So in this class, we use a movement, breath work, sound, and meditation, and also stillness to work with grief rather than to push it away, and to move towards love, peace, and harmony. The goal of class is to work on releasing pain and struggle and to connect with more love. So a little bit about my experience with grief. A couple different things for me. So in my mid-20s, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, which is chronic pain and fatigue and a whole host of other things that come along with it. And being in my mid-20s, I thought, well, what am I supposed to do now with the rest of my life? Like, I have pain all the time. How am I going to be able to keep up with children when I have children? How am I going to do my job? Like, hurt to type. My fingers and hands were hurting all the time. And I used to be a really active person and I lost that. So it was a bit of a loss of identity for me. And I didn't realize until a few years later that that period of time where I was going through a bunch of different emotions was a period of grief. I was grieving who I used to be and who I thought I was going to be in the future. There's a woman named Pauline Boss who has written about ambiguous loss, um, which is grieving the identity of the change in yourself or in others. So we can also grieve that with other people as well if they change. Sometimes there's an illness that happens with someone that they have a bit of a personality change or whatever, right? So she said two things can be at odds at the same time. They can both be true and be at odds at the same time. We can be both the person we used to be, a person with set memories from before, and a new person who sees and experiences the world in a fundamentally different way. So the world can be both the same and radically different at the same time. So for example, for me, I was already married to my husband, so that stayed the same. But the way I had to live my life changed. Also, in the last couple of years, I lost two women close to me who were also close to my age. And one was the exact same age, and both of them passed away from cancer. So my friend Laura, before she passed, I used to go to her house to offer her yoga in her home, and it was restorative yoga, which we're going to be doing some restorative poses today. And I offered some meditation to her as well to help her move through that period of change and grief for herself and for her kids. Um, and after that, I realized that we need to have yoga for grief. So many of us go through periods of change, or we lose someone, or whatever the case may be. And I saw the effects it had on her, so I thought I would bring this to other people. So as we move through class today, know that your experience with grief will be completely unique to you. We all experience grief differently, and it can look like anger, frustration, sadness, and we all experience different kinds of grief. Grief does not follow a linear path. There will be ups and downs. And know that you are in a safe space with others who are also here experiencing grief and loss. So during our class today, I invite you to take care of yourself and do whatever supports you best. So if you need to take a few extra breaks, maybe you need to take a few extra breaths. Perhaps you come out of the pose or whatever we're doing and you find a resting pose that feels good for you. You can just listen to the class if you want to. It is completely your practice. So I can edit this part out. Does anybody have any questions before we get going? You'll have to unmute yourself. Okay, I think we're good. All right, so finding a nice comfortable position. Sometimes sitting crisscross applesauce or easy seated pose can be a little bit uncomfortable for the hips. So if you want to, you can always grab a folded blanket and place it underneath your sits bones. So that place that you move around you find on the floor underneath your hips here. And that can help just kind of elevate your hips a little bit if you wish. Okay. So to begin, let's bring our hands to heart center, hands together, heart center, and perhaps lowering or closing your eyes. So our hands here at heart center is called Namaskar Mudra, or sometimes known as Anjali Mudra. So yoga. Yoga means union. And this symbol at our heart with our hands means union as well. I like to think of yoga as the union between the body, mind, and heart. Also, union with our shadow side and our light side. And union to each other in this practice and the world around us. So I'd like to begin by honoring all the yogis who came from India and brought us this beautiful practice called yoga. I honor all of you for coming here today to share your practice. I honor you for your strength, your challenges, and how each of our journeys have brought us here together. So taking a deep inhale in through your nose, into your diaphragm, and a long, slow exhale out. So maybe we'll find a little bit of noise here with our breath. Deep inhale in through your nose and then let it out with a sigh. 2 more times. Inhale in through your nose, let your diaphragm expand, and exhale it out. Last one, deep inhale and sigh. You can choose to keep your hands at heart center, or perhaps if your arms are getting tired, you can bring them down by your sides. Noticing the sensation of your breath. Taking deep inhales in through your nose and long, slow exhales out. Okay. And then gently opening the windows of your eyes. So our first pose is called Shavasana. So really it's lying on the floor. um, but if you have options, if you want to make yourself nice and comfortable lying on the floor, you can lie on your back, on your side, or on your front body, whatever's going to help you get the most comfortable. You can use a rolled blanket or some blocks. I once called them a blocket. And then placing them underneath your thighs or underneath your knees to kind of support your low back here. Arms come out to the sides, palms face up. And then lowering or closing your eyes. So you'll probably notice me popping up every once in a while to seated. Know that you haven't missed anything. I just need to take a quick peek at my notes. All right. So once you've found a comfortable place here on the earth, return to the sensation of your breath. See if you can notice your breath as it moves in through your nose, in through your body, and notice it moving back out through your body, back out through your nose. Notice if you're holding any tension in your forehead, in your jaw, and see if you can relax and soften these areas. Taking a moment to check in with your shoulders. Are you holding any tension there? Allowing your shoulders to relax and soften down towards the earth. Notice if there's anywhere else in your body that you feel like you're holding tension. And with every exhale, softening, releasing, letting go of tension. While you are here, I invite you to dedicate this practice to either self-love and self-healing, or maybe to another person. Notice what self-love and self-healing look like and feel like to you and your body. There's no wrong answer. If you are dedicating this practice to another person, I invite you to picture them when they were happy. And just notice what you feel here in your heart. So there's no judgment, just notice. Once you have made this dedication, making some small movements in your fingers and toes. Rolling around wrists and ankles. And slowly rolling over to one side, whichever side is calling for you. And then gently making your way up to seated. All right. Once you have made your way up to seated, if you wish, this is an opportunity to write down your dedication, whether it's to self-love and self-healing, or maybe your dedication to a person. If you wish to write it down, you don't have to. Entirely up to you. So I'm going to give you just a minute while I set up. Okay. So our next pose is called a reclined bound angle. So I'm going to give you lots of different options to set this one up depending on what you have available in your home. So I'll show you with a whole bunch of props first, and then we'll kind of break it down just in case you only have maybe some pillows and a blanket. So to begin, we want to set up kind of like a ramp. So if you have blocks or books or something, you want to set it up so that the back end is higher, and then you can place your pillows over top. And the way it's going to look, so you know what you're setting up for, is you're going to come up nice and close to your ramp and lay back. Arms are going to come out to the sides, and then I'll give you lots of options for the legs. Okay. So if you don't have everything for a ramp this way, you can always just place a rolled up blanket on the earth instead. So your rolled up blanket will come along, and you want it to be long enough to go from basically the tailbone all the way up to at least the crown of the head, if not higher. So instead of your ramp, you'll be using a long blanket, and then you'll be coming on top on the middle of the blanket. Try not to fall off. Palms face up towards the sky. All right. So wherever you decide to go with this, you have options for your legs. So our bound angle normally is feet together, knees apart. You can always grab some pillows or maybe folded blankets and place them underneath your knees or your hips. If you only have one blanket, you can make a long rope like thing with your blanket. And then use that to wrap around your feet and underneath your legs, so that when you come down onto the floor, your feet are going to stay pretty close together. So feet come back, and then you come back onto your ramp or wherever is comfortable. If none of these feel comfortable for you, you can bring your feet wide on the mat, knees together, or maybe legs come out long. Okay, lots of options. So if you're feeling a little bit stuck, or maybe something isn't feeling good, feel free to pop in on the chat and just let me know so that I can give you a hand, maybe offer you some suggestions. And once you have yourself all set up here, when you are on the earth in this position, know that it's kind of like Princess and the Bee. If it hurts a little bit now, it's going to hurt a lot in a few minutes. We're going to be holding this pose for a little while. So make any adjustments you need to so that you're nice and comfortable. Also, you are not stuck in any pose during our time here together. Feel free to come out of the pose if you need to. Maybe you come into another resting pose, maybe lying on your back, your side, your front body, or anything else that feels comfortable for you. Again, this is your practice. Okay, if it is comfortable for you, I invite you to bring your hands to your heart. So we're going to do a meditation that you can use anytime in the future when you feel any kind of discomfort or feel bad in any way. It's something you can do to soothe and comfort yourself. Know that if you need to, you can always remove your hands from your chest if they start to feel, or your arms start to feel uncomfortable. So take a few deep, satisfying breaths here. Again, deep inhale in through your nose, into your diaphragm. Maybe you sigh it out, or maybe it's just a long, slow exhale. Do that a few more times. And feel the warmth and gentle pressure from your hands. Perhaps you can feel your heart beating beneath your hands. And see if maybe you can connect to feeling love, care, and tenderness radiating from your hands to your heart. And if this feels difficult to do, perhaps imagine comforting, soothing, and sending this love, care, and tenderness to someone you love unconditionally. Notice your chest rising and falling as you breathe. And know that we all experience grief. We are all in this together. Feel yourself and maybe even others in this practice held together in community. Know that grief is a normal, important part of our healing process. And then repeating to yourself in your mind or out loud, may I be kind to myself in this moment. May I be kind to myself in this moment. May I give myself the compassion I need. May I give myself the compassion I need. If your hands are still on your chest, bringing your arms by your sides. At any point, if you need to, you can always return to this affirmation. May I give myself the compassion I need. May I be kind to myself in this moment, in, in any order that you'd like. Feel love, kindness, and compassion in your heart. Again, if this is difficult to do, perhaps you imagine someone you care about unconditionally, sending them the love, care, and compassion. Notice what it feels like in your body. And then see if you can send that to yourself. And with that feeling of love, kindness, and compassion in your heart, making some small movements in your body, maybe wiggling fingers and toes. And whenever you're ready, to come out, everybody's a little different. Some people like to place one arm long up by their ear and then roll over onto the side, onto that arm. Other people prefer just to kind of use hands to come back up to seated. Once you have made your way to seated, if you wish to write the mantra down, you certainly can. I put it in the notes. I don't know if you can see it in the chat box, but it's may I be kind to myself in this moment. May I give myself the compassion I need. May I be kind to myself in this moment. May I give myself the compassion I need. And whenever you are ready, our next pose will just need a long rolled up blanket, one that's going to go past the width of your torso. And it not too high. You'll know when you come down if it's too high, you'll need to unroll it. And I can always, if you miss writing something down and you want to write it, I can always give it to you later. All right, so once you have this blanket roll, the way it's going to work is we're going to come down onto it on our backs. So we want to make sure that the blanket roll is below the shoulder blades. So not right under, but below the shoulder blades. And you'll know when you come down if it's difficult to get your arms out in a T because the blanket's in the way, then it's a little bit too high. You may have to adjust it, play with it when you come down. It could always be too thick. And again, I'll give you options with your legs. And if it feels uncomfortable, come on out. And maybe even write me in the chat and I can give you something else. So we're going to come down onto the floor. All right, so it's going to come again below the shoulder blades. You'll know when you come down if it's like not in a very good spot. We want a little bit of an arch here, but not too much. So you have options with your arms. Arms can come into a T shape. If you have discomfort in your shoulders, bringing them into a T shape, feel free to move your blanket, bring your arms down by your sides. Palms face up, whether they're by your sides or in a T shape. Or you can place your arms in cactus arms or goalpost arms if you don't have very much space. If you're like me, you have a wall. All right, so feet, again, maybe feet are wide on the mat, knees are together. Maybe legs are out long. And once you find your way down here into a comfortable place in this pose, find a few rounds of breath. Take deep inhales in through your nose and then slow exhales. And notice if there's any discomfort. If you need to come out and find a thinner roll in your blanket. So, grief is one of the heart's natural responses to loss. When we grieve, we allow ourselves to feel the truth of our pain, the measure of betrayal or tragedy in our own life. By our willingness to mourn, we slowly acknowledge and accept the truth of our losses. Sometimes the best way to let go is to grieve. It takes courage to grieve, to honor the pain that we carry. We can grieve in tears or in meditative silence, in prayer if that's something you do, or in song. In touching the pain of recent and long-held griefs, we come face to face with our genuine human vulnerability, with helplessness and with hopelessness. We need to respect our grief and our tears. Without a wise way to grieve, we can only soldier on, armored and unfeeling. But our hearts cannot learn to grow from the sorrows of the past. When you are ready in this pose, begin to sense your breath. Feel your breathing in your chest area. This can help you become present with what is within you. Imagine that you are holding yourself here, that you are holding a vulnerable human being, because you are. As you continue to breathe, I invite you to bring to mind the loss or pain that you are grieving. Let the images, feelings come out naturally. Let the whole story unfold. And hold these images and feelings gently. Take your time and let the feelings come layer by layer, a little at a time. Keep breathing softly, compassionately. Let whatever feelings are there, pain and tears, anger, love, fear, sorrow, come as they will. And hold them gently. Let them unravel out of your body and mind. Make space for any images that arise and allow the whole story. Breathe and hold it all with tenderness and compassion. Kindness for all, for you, and for others. The grief we carry is part of the grief of the world. Hold it gently. Let it be honored. You can let it go into the heart of compassion. You can weep. Releasing the grief we carry can be a long, tear-filled process. yet it follows the natural intelligence of the body and heart. Trust it and trust the unfolding. Keep in mind that grief doesn't just dissolve. Instead, it arises in waves, and gradually, with growing compassion, there comes more space around it. The heart opens in its own time, little by little. Gaps of new life, breaks in the rain clouds appear. The body relaxes, and freer breaths appear. This is a natural cycle that you can trust. How life and the heart renews itself. Returning to your breath, taking slow inhales, long, slow exhales. May I be kind to myself in this moment. May I give myself the compassion I need. Making some small movements in your fingers and toes. Maybe your small movements become bigger movements. And slowly rolling over to one side, whichever side is calling for you. And then gently making your way up to seated. Okay. If there's anything that stood out to you, I invite you to write it down before you forget it. I'll give you a couple of minutes before we move on to the next part of our practice. If there's nothing that you feel like you would like to write down, I invite you to just close your eyes and follow the sensation of your breath, noticing the quality of your breath, whether it's shallow or deep, quick or slow. And see if you can slow down your breath just a little bit more. Holding yourself with love and compassion, kindness and gentleness. Okay. So if you're still writing and you want to continue writing, feel free to do so. Otherwise, we're going to come into a little bit more of the active part of our practice. I say active, it's really not that active, but it's a little bit more movement. And then eventually we'll be coming up to standing, and we're going to use movement and sound. So know that, first of all, I can't hear you. You're all on mute. So if you feel kind of silly making sound, it's okay. Uh, it's just you and your sound. I feel silly making it, so you'll hear me make the sound, but using sound is a way to help us move energy through, to help us move things through us. Okay, so our first pose that we're going to start off with is torso circles. So if you're comfortable doing so, sitting in a easy seated position, crisscross applesauce, or maybe feet are together, or maybe legs are out long. Okay. So with our torso circles, we'll just find circles in our body. So maybe they're big circles, little circles. Perhaps when you come back, you arch your spine behind you. Whatever feels good for you in your body. And just kind of connect here with your hips and shoulders. Notice what you're feeling in your body. And then going in the opposite direction if you haven't already. So there's no wrong way to feel this. It's just getting a little bit of movement in the spine. All right, slowly coming back to center. And then from here, we'll find some shoulder rolls. So on your inhale, rolling your shoulders up by your ears, and on your exhales, rolling your shoulders back and down your spine. So just moving with your own breath, shoulders come up and roll back and down. So it's almost as if our shoulder blades are coming down into opposite hip pockets. So allowing them to come together as you roll them down. Let's do 2 more here. I lost count of where I was. Okay. And then whenever you're ready, we'll bring our arms out to the sides. Okay, so shoulders roll back and down your spine. We do this to protect our shoulders. So however it's comfortable for you, you're going to keep your hips where they are and then open your upper back, open your heart up towards the sky. Try not to drop your neck back. And then on your exhale, rounding your spine, allowing your arms to come around you as far as you feel comfortable, kind of like you're giving yourself a big hug. We're just going to keep moving here. Inhale, open your arms. Imagine there's a string pulling your heart up towards the sky. Exhale, round. Maybe you switch the cross of your arms when you come around, hug yourself. So let's do a few more. Move at your own pace. Inhale to open and exhale to hug. Okay, so finding one more. And then once that is complete for you, allowing your arms to come down by your sides, rolling your shoulders back and down your spine. From here, let's place the right hand on the earth. Left palm faces up towards the sky. Keeping that left shoulder rolled back and down the spine. On your inhale, reaching your arm up, and exhale, reaching over. Maybe you walk your hand away a little bit, or maybe if it's in your body, hips stay on the floor, perhaps you come down onto the forearm. So listen to your body. Keep that top shoulder rolled back and down. And then on your inhale, coming up to center, and exhale, coming over to the other side. Just rolling that shoulder back and down. And just moving at your own pace. Inhale to center and exhale over. Notice what you feel in your neck. Some people feel more comfortable looking down at the earth. Whatever serves you the best. Let's do one more on each side. And then coming back to center. So we're going to bring our feet about mat distance apart. Bringing your hands behind you to support you. And then just allowing your knees to windshield wiper from side to side. They may not come all the way down to the earth. It doesn't really matter. We're just finding a little bit of movement here for our hips to kind of release any tension and maybe warm them up just a little bit. Okay, so let's do one more on each side. Okay, and then we're going to make our way into a tabletop. So in our tabletop, wrists come underneath the shoulders, knees come underneath the hips. We're only going to be here for about a minute. We'll find some cat-cow movement here. So on your cat, arching your spine up towards the sky, tucking your tailbone, tucking your chin. It's kind of like a Halloween cat. And on your cow, moving in the opposite direction, tailbone points up towards the sky, roll the shoulders back and down your spine. And just moving at your own pace with your own breath, see where it feels more comfortable to inhale and where it feels more comfortable to exhale. So let's go one more time in each direction. And then coming back to tabletop, nice flat back here. I invite you to find any kind of movement that feels good for you in your body. So maybe it's making some C shapes. Maybe you make circles in your hips. Maybe you come in and out of child's pose. So remember when I said at the beginning, yoga is union between the body, mind, and heart. So does that mean you have to move in a particular way? No. So any way that feels good for you. Okay, let's come back to tabletop. So we're going to make our way up to standing. You can either follow me or you can come up any way that's comfortable for you and come up to standing. So I'm going to curl my toes under, shoulders roll back and down, lifting my hips up and back towards the sky, downward dog. Maybe walking out my dog, bending one knee as I straighten the other, or walking your dog. And then allowing your feet to come up towards your hands or hands towards your feet. We'll come into a forward fold. So forward fold, feet are about hip distance apart. Relaxing the upper body. Maybe shake out your head. Maybe you sway from side to side. And then allowing your hands to come to your hips. On your inhale, find length in your spine, nice straight line in your spine. And on your exhale, see if you can come up with a flat back. Okay, so before we move on to our more active pose here with some breath, we're going to find just some empty coat sleeves. So just swaying your arms from side to side. Okay, a couple more times. Okay, and then our next movement with breath is called a windmill. So in our windmill, we use movement and sound and breath all at the same time. So the way it looks, there's a couple different ways. I invite you to find whatever way feels best for you. If the full movement causes lightheadedness, is that even a word? Then I'll show you another option as well. So in our windmill, we're going to bring our feet about hip distance apart. The arms are going to reach up towards the sky, shoulders roll back and down. And then you're going to sit down almost. So sit back like you're in a chair and then swing your arms back behind you. As you come up to standing, bring the arms back up towards the sky. And then same thing, swing the arms behind you. If this feels like it's too much for you, feel free to take the legs out of the movement, bring the arms up, and then swing the arms back. Okay, so as we do this, we're going to bring our hands back and go, ha. So arms reach up towards the sky. And then exhale, ha. And I know we feel silly making noise. But again, I can't hear you, so it doesn't matter. So you keep going. We're going to be here for a couple of minutes. And here's what I'd like you to do as you move through this. Notice any feelings that are there. And check in with yourself and without judgment, feel whatever's there. Any pain, sadness, anger, any fear, resentment, and allow it to move through you. So inhaling, arms come up, exhale, move that feeling through you. Imagine as you move your arms back behind you, those feelings move through. So they're not bad feelings. We're just helping them move through us, not pushing them away, but working with them. Keep going. Maybe it feels good to make another sound. Keep going. Is there something that is keeping you stuck? Allow any pain that's inside of you to be channeled and move through you. When something challenging and uncomfortable comes up, acknowledge it. And just like your hands, let it move beyond you. Take a break when you need to. Okay, 2 more times. Right. When you're done with this, maybe you find some empty coat sleeves once again, or perhaps you shake it out of your body. Imagine moving it through. Are we really moving it through out of our body as we're doing this? Who knows? Even just picture it moving through. Maybe it's empty coat sleeves. All right. When you feel ready, bring your hands to your heart once again and lower or close your eyes. May I be kind to myself in this moment. May I give myself the compassion I need. Observe your breath. Feel your heartbeat. And listen within. So whenever you're ready, opening your eyes, release your hands. Our next movement can be done either from standing or from seated if you're more comfortable seated. And again, if you wish, placing something underneath your hips to give you that little bit of extra support as you're seated. Okay. So our next exercise is called pulling the weeds. So imagine what a weed in your life is like. What sorts of things could be weeds? Things that are that kind of take over our minds, that maybe ruminate through our heads. Those questions of maybe I should have done something different. Maybe there's regret. Maybe there's, what if I did this? I should have done this. I shouldn't have said that. Those are weeds. So our next exercise is called pulling the weeds. And we're going to start to connect to those what ifs, should haves, shouldn't haves, and start to release them. And we do this in order to make space for other things in our life so that we're not always thinking about them and they're not taking up so much space. And kind of as we go through this, maybe you imagine that you're pulling weeds in your own garden to make space for maybe some beautiful flowers to grow. So again, we're making a funny noise. So the way it works is you're going to take one hand and you're going to reach down and you're going to imagine that you're grabbing a hold of a weed and then you're going to throw it behind your shoulder. So you're going to let it go and go, ha. And then you're going to take the other hand, pull out the weed and throw it behind your shoulder. Ha. So continue here, pulling one weed at a time. Grab a hold of it, pull it out, connect to anything that's there, any regrets, anything that's been taking over your mind about whatever it is that you are grieving, whoever you are grieving, whatever your situation is. Let go of the shoulds. I should have, pull it out. I shouldn't have, behind the shoulder. Let go of any regrets. Holding on to those weeds just allows them to continue to grow, take over the garden, take over our minds. Release the weeds. Keep going. Release any whys. Sometimes we ask why. Why me? Why did it have to happen? Release any negativity that has taken over. Maybe you're just releasing any other weeds in your life. Pull out the weeds so you can create space for flowers to grow, a space to plant new seeds. Maybe it's new seeds of gratitude for everything that you have and for everything that you are grateful for. A couple more minutes. Not minutes, seconds. Let it go. A couple more. All right. And then once that's done, release, shake out your arms. Bringing your hands to your heart once again. Feeling the sensation of your breath. Sending love, kindness, and compassion to your heart. May I be kind to myself in this moment. May I give myself the compassion I need. Gently releasing your hands. All right. So now we plant some seeds. Moving back into a restorative practice. So in this pose, you'll need just your blanket. So the blanket is going to come into a long fold. So not a roll, but kind of like a long rectangle. So we're going to bring this so you know what kind of rectangle you're looking for. This is going to come either underneath your hips or underneath the low belly, whatever feels comfortable for you, okay? So we're going to come down onto the floor. And then once you make your way onto the floor, you're going to find cactus arms. So this is our cactus arms, and then I'll guide you through the rest. So find that comfortable place. It's not going to feel like a whole lot. It's just going to feel like a little bit of a lift here in either your hips or maybe that a little bit of, could be comfortable pressure into the low belly. So find cactus arms. And then I invite you to turn your head towards the left. Allow your ear to come to the earth. If it doesn't come to the earth, feel free to grab another folded blanket or a pillow. And then allowing your right arm, I'll show you the opposite, allowing your right arm to slide down by your side. So palm can be up or down. And you can move the blanket if you want. It can come under the blanket or on top of the blanket. Whatever feels the best for you. So this, you might feel a little bit of a stretch.
along the right side of the neck.
And I'll keep an eye on the chat in case you need something. All right. And we're going to find this pose, this variation of the arms on both sides. So I'll let you know when we're going to switch and how to do it safely. So here on the earth, notice your breath once again. Can you take deep inhales and long, slow exhales? Be sure your exhales are longer than your inhales. And maybe you slow down your breath just a little bit more. Planting seeds. Is there something in your life that you can find gratitude for? Maybe it's gratitude for your breath that you feel. Gratitude for being here another day. Is there a part of your body that you can find gratitude for? Something that helps you every day. Can you maybe consider a friend or mentor who is dear to you? Allow that person to inspire feelings of gratitude in your heart. Can you find gratitude for all the courage that you have summoned into your life and how it has helped you through challenges, big and small? Can you find compassion and gratitude for your own journey, for all of your strength and all of your struggles? Okay, from here, you're going to bring the left arm back into your cactus shape. Turning your head towards the left side. And then allowing the right arm to slide down by your side. Unless I did it the other way around. We're going to do the opposite side. Can you imagine planting those seeds of gratitude? Imagine planting them into the earth. Maybe planting some seeds for the future. Is there something that can help you work through your grief? Something you can do, maybe something that you would like to do to honor yourself or to honor a loved one. Imagine planting those seeds for the future. Is there anything else that you feel will help you on your journey? Today we've practiced meditation, movement, breath. Sometimes your grief wants to be written, maybe drawn out or painted. Maybe it wants to be sung or danced. Imagine planting those seeds in your garden. From here, bringing both arms back to cactus arms. And then it's up to you. You can make your way back into a tabletop by walking your hands up, coming onto your knees, or maybe you prefer to roll over to one side first, extending one arm, rolling over onto that arm like it's a pillow. And then we're all going to come back to seated. And once you have made your way to seated, if you wish, maybe there is something you would like to write down, something that came to you during the last couple of exercises or meditations that you would like to remember, that you don't want to forget. Maybe it's seeds that you want to plant, things that you feel will be helpful to you, things that you are grateful for. Maybe something came up that you weren't expecting to come up that you maybe want to revisit later. Entirely up to you. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes here, and then once you are ready, You're going to come down onto the earth into Shavasana once again. So lying on your back, maybe it's your side body, front body, whatever's comfortable for you. Once you make your way down to Shavasana, there's no rush. Once again, connecting to your breath. Notice the rise and fall of your breath. Maybe you return to that feeling from the beginning of our practice, holding yourself with love and compassion. Hold yourself here with care and tenderness. May I be kind to myself in this moment. May I give myself the compassion I need. Softening your shoulders, allowing your hips to relax. Bringing your awareness to your face. Notice your forehead and the place between your eyes. See if you can relax and soften those areas. Notice your jaw. See if there's any tension there. And then pay attention to your upper jaw. Notice what happens if you imagine that you can relax both the inside and the outside of your ears. Softening your lower jaw. And with every exhale, allowing your body to sink down a little more into the earth. Let the earth hold you, support you, and keep you safe. I invite you to honor yourself. Honor all of your past, your mistakes, your triumphs, all the decisions you have made to get you to this point. Honor the times that you fell to your knees and the times you rose above. Honor all of your present. Honor this moment full of possibility, hope, and openness. Honor yourself for showing up here to practice, to learn, and to grow. Honor yourself for trying, no matter what the circumstances are. You are doing your best. Honor your courage and your strength. Honor all of your future, the lands and experiences that lay before you, the relationships that you are yet to have. Honor all of the outcomes of all of the choices you make today, knowing that you are being guided and looked after. Honor all parts of yourself, all the sweetness and all the struggles. And honor yourself for being you. And I'd like to offer you one more affirmation. If it resonates with you, maybe repeating it to yourself. I choose love. I choose to heal. I choose love. I choose to heal. Maybe a couple more. I take care of myself as I heal. I take care of myself as I heal. It's okay to take time to grieve. It's okay to take time to grieve. And last, my life has purpose, and I live today in compassion and love. My life has purpose, and I live today in compassion and love. Whenever you are ready, making some small movements in your fingers and toes. perhaps rolling around wrists and ankles. And slowly rolling over to one side, whichever side is calling for you. And then gently making your way up to seated. And once you get there, lowering or closing your eyes. Taking deep inhales and long, slow exhales. And for the last time, feeling the connection with those in this practice, even though it's virtual, we're still all here together. As you exhale, perhaps you exhale love and compassion to those in this practice. And as you inhale, perhaps you feel the love and compassion from others. Thank you for joining me for this practice. May you go in peace, love, kindness, and compassion. Have a beautiful evening. So I'm here if anybody has any questions, and I'm going to stop the recording so you won't be recorded.